Woo! Back on the bicycle. And today, I really don't want to. You know how you eat a bunch of stuff, you eat a bunch of junk, and the next morning you're like, ugh, ugh. You know, I ate a lot. I had a little bluegrass gig yesterday. It was fun. It was really fun. Um, um, I think a friend of mine recorded it, but like I said, it was a little bluegrass gig. This looks weird. This looks really weird. What's up? What's going on? There we go. Sorry, guys. I was muted. But, again, like I was saying, yeah, well, I gotta start all over. I ate a lot yesterday. I ate a lot of junk. I had this bluegrass gig that I did from guys. You know, I did it with some guys I've known for a while. Some old friends of mine. And they do it every year. And it's called the Porsche Jam. I live in North Metro Atlanta. They call it, I live in Metro Atlanta. They call it North Atlanta. It ain't Atlanta. It's Gwinnett County. But it's considered North Metro Atlanta. I'm like maybe 20 minutes from Atlanta. Straight shot down 85. Boom. I'm there. Like I'm straight shot down 85, and really, if you want to count Buckhead, it takes me 15 minutes. You know, tops. You know, it takes about another 15 to 20 minutes to get from this. There's kind of like a stretch that, like, there's a bunch of traffic always jams up there, whatever. But further north, it's a town called Suwanee. You got downtown historic Suwanee, and downtown historic Suwanee has like huge houses. Couple of friends of mine, they actually own the houses, but they have what's called porch jams. Now, these are huge houses with huge porches. Porch is big enough to have a sound man and a whole live band. That's how big the porches are. But so they have, you know, they have porch jams, they have food there. I ate so much food. Like, you know how you got like a food hangover? I woke up with a horrible food hangover. I didn't want to do anything. I ate cupcakes, pies, cookies, tons of pizza, all kinds of stuff that I shouldn't be eating. But I woke up this morning. I didn't want to do anything. Like, I'm forcing myself to ride this bike right now because I don't want to. Lord knows I don't want to do this. I gotta, but I don't want to. You know. And I also know it's weird. I'm at kind of like a weird place in my cardio where you kind of get to a certain place where you don't want to stop. You want to keep going. And what happens is I'll ride until, and then eventually I'm just kind of like, it kicks in, like I just don't want to stop. I get in kind of like a Zen mode. And I don't want to stop riding. You know, I've never been there before. I've been there with other places, other things, but not that. You know. So it's pretty cool. You know. As soon as I get past the half-hour mark, I get past the 30-minute mark, and then I kind of go into a Zen kind of state where I'm like, all right, I just want to keep going, you know. And then by the time you get to like 50 minutes, you're like, Dad, you got to tear yourself away from it because it just gets good to you, you know. You don't want to stop, you know. 145, 143, 139. 135. My heart rate's going down. That's good. What is it? But yeah, you know, it was fun. I think the first time I did it, felt kind of shaky. I felt kind of shaky. This time, I felt good. You know, I definitely felt good. I think one of the things that helped me was playing along to a metronome. You know, I continue to play to a metronome. You know, so I got, I continue to work with a metronome to keep me, keep my timing on point. You know, and guys don't really realize, of course, until they're older, how much exercise actually helps your playing. You know. Now, yesterday I was sweating like an Eskimo living in Florida, but sweating like a dope boy at the police station. You know, sweating like a prostitute at church. You know, but I wasn't tired. You know, I wasn't fatigued. I wasn't like out of breath. You know, and especially that comes in handy. Like this guy, he plays guitar. He was playing on another porch, and he was like, you know, we followed each other on Instagram. He was like, yo, maybe we can jam sometime. You know, and he plays rock, high energy rock. Now, my philosophy is, if I'm playing high energy rock, I want to wear out everybody else in the band. I want them to be like, all right, bro, like, good Lord. I want that kind of reaction. You know, it's kind of like, whatever the genre it is. I learned this from a guy. Can't remember his name. I was reading Modern Drummer magazine years ago, where they were interviewing a guy. He said the best thing you can do as a drummer is be over-prepared for the gig. You'd rather be over-prepared than under-prepared. So a lot of what I do is I practice to a metronome. Of course, I work out. Like I do a lot of cardio, a lot of weight training, free weights. But I do that because, like, drums are such a physical instrument. Guitar, it don't take much. I play guitar. I play bass. All it takes is this or this. Wiggling your fingers. Drums, you're moving 4 limbs at the same time. You know. And if you're not healthy, I've seen guys, unhealthy drummers, they just fall off. They can't do it. I don't want to be one of those guys. I try to learn from the mistakes of the drummers in the past. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I watch my diet. I exercise 6 days a week. You know, like I said, I watch what I eat. I eat very clean. You know, I usually keep it lean and green. Except for on Fridays, my family, we have pizza, popsicle, movie night. So, you know, but outside of that, It takes a lot. You know, if I'm in a jazz situation, I'm going to learn Brazilian jazz, Latin jazz, um, um, straight ahead jazz, modern jazz, jazz fusion, whatever. If it's Prague, I'm going to learn all kinds of. Well, Prague, I'm just going to take all my jazz chops and incorporate them into Prague. If it's metal, one of my leg workouts is calf raises to keep my calves strong. You know, and to just, I'm always doing calf exercises, double base exercises, you know, doing double paradiddles, double paradiddles, triple paradiddles, you know, working on four-way independence exercises, you know, working on speed, working on my touch, you know, working on stuff that I'll probably never need, but you never know. You know, a lot of stuff I work on, I'll probably never need it. Never. But you never know. Somebody might, and like I said, you want to be overqualified. You want people to, yeah. They flagged my video. Copyright. Yeah, they flagged my video. Yep, they flagged it. Just that fast. So let me get rid of it. I know what I'll do. I'll download it and get rid of it. I'll download it. Save to device. It's just that fast. You know. The crazy thing about these YouTube copyrights is I have music. I've copyrighted music. Like I have my own music. And if I play my own music, they'll copyright strike me. You know. I think this copyright stuff is like out of hand. They'll strike you for your own music. You know, and I can't fight it. If I actually say, hey, this is my music. I wrote it. Here's the proof. It's copywritten. I'm like, you're not getting it. It's my music. It's copywritten. I say that because I've tried that. I've posted my own music, and they struck me. Copyright claim. I was like, okay. I wrote the music. They didn't do anything. They didn't lift the claim. They didn't do anything. So, you know, such is life. But yeah, this YouTube copyright stuff is too much, man. It's way too much. They're doing too much. They're doing way too much. You know. Plus, I think also the music industry has I can't really blame YouTube in that. Okay. I can't really blame YouTube in that. Delete. In that the industry is like the record industry, um, they're greedy, man. It's a combination of the record industry and a lot of artists. Like, for instance, you're not going to see a lot of Drake stuff on YouTube. They don't understand the game of social media. People will listen to your stuff, most likely they hear it on social media. If you have older material, like, for a while, Zeppelin didn't want anybody using their stuff, until they realized, oh, our record sales will go up if we allow them to share it on YouTube? Yes, you idiot. It will go up. You know what I mean? Like, my 11, 14, 16, and 19-year-old kids, they didn't grow up listening to that stuff. They're not gonna, there's certain stuff they listen to, or there's certain stuff they've heard. But for them, they didn't grow up listening to that stuff, So, and like, for instance, they've heard Hotel California. They know it's the Eagles, but they don't know what's another Eagles song. I can't think right now. But they don't know other Eagles tunes. One of those Crazy Nights. They don't know that. I could turn them on to the Eagles, but they hear that song and they're like, who is that? Oh, it's the Eagles? Oh, my dad turned me on to the Eagles. Let me go on Spotify or whatever to go find that song. Now people have gotten turned on to your music. I think what happens is a lot of artists, they get old and they're like, oh, you're stealing my music. No. A whole new generation is discovering your music. So, it's not about theft, because they're not making money off of your music. Ain't nobody checking for your music anyway. You're old as dirt. Ain't nobody checking for your music. Your music's old as dirt. You're old as dirt. Ain't nobody checking for your music. Knock it off. That's just a fact. A lot of older artists, they get kind of crusty about it. It's kind of like the reason why Rick Beato actually went to Congress. I don't know if you're familiar with Rick Beato's page, his channel. But yeah, he had to go to Congress and speak to Congress about that. It was like, it's ridiculous. So, I don't know. All right, time to sprint. That felt good. Work up the sweat. I'm telling you guys, I did not want to do this morning. I had to force myself. I need a hook right there. Whew. I keep telling myself I'm gonna find one, but every time I get off this bike, I forget. There we go, work up the sweat. I've been on here for 25 minutes. Push it to 45. Plus, I get on this bike, it lowers your cholesterol, man, and your blood pressure. Black folks and cholesterol and blood pressure, high blood pressure, are not, they're quite fond of one another. You know, that's the one thing we have to watch, our cholesterol. You know. That felt good. There we go. Hey, why's it turned down? Raise the tension. Raise the resistance. Give my legs more of a workout. You know what's weird? I had an AirTag. My phone notified me that there was an AirTag in the car that I was riding in. It's kind of weird. So, it was like really, really weird. I'm assuming it was the guy that I was driving with, that I was with. He had an AirTag in his car. You know, knowing him, it was probably him. But it was weird. I gotta ask him, you know, do you know that there's an AirTag on your car? You know, that's an old way of, you know, you rob people. Put an AirTag on their car when they don't know it, and they rob you. You know, matter of fact, that's the okie doke. That's old school. You know. So I gotta ask him. Like, yo, bro, you know there's an AirTag on your car. Did you put it on there? If you didn't, somebody's trying to rob you. You know, I suggest you find it and take it off. You know, I know dudes, they would take AirTags, just slap them on under somebody's car. You know, or just, you know, if they know somebody and they're in their car, they'll tuck it in the seat. Tuck it deep in the seat. You know, crazy stuff. Juice, what up? I figured it out, bro. I was muted. But thank you, because nobody else would tell me. You know, you're the only person that said something. You know, but yeah, man, I was coming home and my phone was like notifying me, you know, there's an AirTag that is, you know, blah, 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 blah. You know, did you use this AirTag? I'm like, no. So yeah, I gotta ask my boy, yo, bro, you put an AirTag on your car? And that's not his car, that's his wife's car. So, yeah. Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, you know what? It was a little bluegrass jam that I do with a couple of friends. Like the guy that I'm talking about, his father's an incredible singer. Let me tell you something. His father's an incredible singer. His mother's an incredible singer. And he's an incredible singer. All three of them. You know, all three of them are great singers. You know, it was just a bunch of, a lot of the guys. All of the guys. You know, that night was just bluegrass. A lot of times we're playing gospel, R&B, Christian contemporary. We kind of mix it up, As far as personally, I think my boy and his parents, they're into like blues and bluegrass. The other guitarist, he's into rock. The bass player, he's into funk and soul, and like jazz funk. I'm into everything. They want to play metal. I'd be down to play metal. So, I'm into whatever you put in front of me. If it was opera, if it was polka, doesn't matter. I just like music. All right, how long have I been on this? Go for a sprint real quick. "34 minutes. The crazy thing is, I hate getting on this bicycle. I hate getting on this bicycle, but then once I get on it, you give me like 10 to 15 minutes into riding. I don't want to get off. I just keep riding and riding and riding. I've been off for 35 minutes. I'll ride it for another 10 minutes. Hopefully I'll get off and get on that elliptical. I'll have to peel myself away. It's a weird thing. You feel like, oh man, I feel good. Let me just keep going. But you realize I got stuff to do. You kind of getting that second wind. I feel like I'm sweating out all the junk I ate yesterday. Chips and hot dogs and cherry Coke, soda, chips, and brownies and cookies and pizza, which I don't really mind pizza, because pizza is a good source of carbs. If you're doing something with endurance, it's a great source of carbs. Any kind of pasta. Unless it's like the ravioli that you get in a can, that stuff's trash. But actual pasta, marathon runners, they'll refrain from eating pasta and just train. And then the night before the marathon, eat a bunch of pasta. Triathletes are known for that too. There's kind of a zone that you kind of go into. Yeah, it's weird. It's cool. It's weird. The crazy thing is, it rained. It rained hard yesterday. But we were playing under a porch. So I was like, you guys are getting wet. We're nice and dry. They stayed out there. And they were like dancing and whatnot. We had people dancing. It was cool. Should turn that fan on. Starting to sweat like a stuck pig. She said, I believe in you. Believe in Jesus, don't believe in me. Believe in God, don't believe in me. Because I'll let you down every time. I'm not perfect. Believe in your higher power. $154, 155 calories. Really? So I got 6 minutes. All right. I might take it easy. I don't know if I'm gonna. Yeah, it's leg day. Yeah, I'll do legs today. I'll do leg extensions. I was gonna take it easy, but yeah, I might. I'm still 50-50 on it. I'll cut out the elliptical. I'm still 50-50 on the free weights. My legs are still sore from the last leg day. Deadlifts, woo! Those deadlifts, they got me. I put all my stuff up. That's the thing. Well, ooh, I know what I'm going to get. I know exactly what I'm going to get. I got to stain my other drum set. I gotta stain it. Well, before I stain it, I gotta sand it down again. I definitely want to stain it. You know, I've already gotten stains on it, and I don't want it to get worse. You know. What's that noise? Jay! He's upstairs. Here he comes. Jay!
Yeah?
You take your medication?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you need to focus, man. You need to focus. Huh?
Yeah, I can tell if you're calling me or not.
Oh, yeah, I was. I just want to make sure you take your medication. I had somebody during rehearsal yesterday. They were like, my phone kept going off, the alarms. They were like, wow, you got a lot of alarms. I said, yeah. I said, it's an ADHD hack. They're like, really? I said, yeah, it keeps me focused. You know, so I know what I need to do, when I need to do it, how much time I have allotted to do it. And I can move on. And a friend of mine, his wife, she has ADHD. I didn't realize it. She goes, you need to show me some of that stuff. You know. So yeah. You know. Yeah, it's a pretty cool hack. So my wife is annoyed by it. Well, she's learned to kind of accept it. Because, you know, she knows who she married. You know. But yeah, it's a great hack, man. It keeps you focused. Sweating out all that sugar and junk I ate yesterday. 43. So that's about 2.5 minutes. 2 minutes and 8 seconds I got left. Usually 45 minutes, I'm like, you burn 200 calories? Really? Okay, 44.5 minutes. Now I don't want to get off. I don't want to get off now. All right. Oof. All right. A lot of people don't realize how important your calves are to balance. And running. Three. Ah, you know, a lot of people don't realize how important they are. You know, that's your balance, man. Your calves, that's all your balance. Wow. Two. Three. Ah, that hurts. Ah. One. Two. Three. Ah. Ah. Ooh. 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 Ooh, my calves are on fire. My calves are on fire. Last set. Ooh. Ah. Ah. Plus, your calves, I like the strength in my calves. For lateral movement. get another set. Why not? You know what I mean? Calves help with lateral movement. You look at guys, the fighters with the best lateral movement. Ali. Even that whole Ali shuffle. Ali had monster calves. Floyd Mayweather, monster calves. You look at GSP, Georges St. Pierre, one of the greatest UFC fighters. Monster calves. You know, highly developed calves. You know, you look at Conor McGregor. He was a great striker. He wasn't good at getting out of the way, man. You know. What's his name? Can't remember his name. John Jones. John Jones was an anomaly. He wasn't known for his lateral movement. He was known for his methodical way of pulling you apart and dismantling you. But he wasn't known for lateral movement, you know. He had chicken legs, you know. But he was just so unpredictable. John Jones was the type of fighter where you'd watch his fight. I don't care how much tape you watched on him. You can't pinpoint his style. His style was just like completely unpredictable, you know. That hurts. Yeah, I'll take it easy today. Whew. Whew.